last week, my wife and I have gone to a couple of dealerships. We've been looking at some cars. We're entertaining the idea of maybe buying her. We've been looking at some Siennas, seeing if we want to do that. And also another car for me that is not going to be my daily driver, but I'm interested in getting something else. And we've had to deal with some dealerships over this time, and it has it's not been fun. So it's been quite a while, and my wife's here today on the mic too. So we're going to talk about what we've dealt with in the last week.
Yo.
But it's been interesting because it's been years and years and years since I've actually dealt with buying a car from a dealership. Obviously, I have a used car dealership. I know what our process is, and I can go ahead and tell you, I don't know why everyone just doesn't buy a car from us and goes to any of these other dealerships, because the experience that we've received from these other dealerships has been just night and day from what we do here at our dealership. But we'll start off with the first one. The easier of the two that we've had to deal with was going in. We looked at a Toyota dealership for a Sienna. You can't really find them. We saw that there was a used one there, and I don't recommend that people buy new vehicles. I would let someone else pay for the depreciation in that first 2 years. So we would prefer to have one that's like 2 years old. And it should be 25% off at that period. But with a Toyota Sienna, which is kind of what we're looking at, it's the same price for a 2-year-old one with 40 or 50,000 miles as it is for you to wait on a brand new one. And the reason being is because they're literally wheels on the ground, that you can go buy like a 2021, 2022 Sienna with that 40, 50,000 miles, as opposed to having to wait on that brand new one. We're fine waiting, and we won't pay the same price for a used one as a new one. But just to preface all of this conversation is that, no, we would rather buy a used one and buy it cheaper. But in a Sienna, it almost doesn't make sense because of the pricing of the used market on these Siennas right now. So with all that being said, we went to this Toyota dealership, and we looked at the used one that they have sitting there just to get the feel of it, because they didn't really change anything from was it a 2021 that we looked at, or 2022?
21.
21. So it was a 2021 they had sitting on the ground. It was $45,000.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And the new one, you can get one for 45 to 50, depending on what trim level. So that's why it makes more sense for us to be looking at the new Siennas versus the used Siennas. Anyway, so we sat in that one, liked how it felt. I will say we're looking at these Siennas, and my wife, there's a lot of stereotypical things that come along with a woman. And I will tell you that I'm very lucky. I'm very fortunate because my wife fits almost none of these stereotypes. You know, the women be shopping, they want to be wine and dine, that kind of stuff. That's not my wife. But the one stereotype that my wife does have surrounds cup holders. And the Sienna, baby, has how many cup holders?
18, Mr. CQA. 18.
It has 18 cup holders. So this is the vehicle for my wife. This is what she needs. We're going to have 3 people that are going to be riding in this van on a regular basis. So a minimum, not minimum, but 6 cup holders per person. Is that enough for you?
It's a challenge. I want to see how long it will take me to use that many cup holders. I feel like right now I only have half that, maybe a little less. And for some reason they're not available.
Yeah. So that is my wife's number one thing when we're going to look at a car. The classic stereotype of selling to a woman when you're selling a vehicle is how many cup holders, and she fits that stereotype. So that's what we're looking at when we're looking at a vehicle. We are looking at cup holders. So we went, looked at the Sienna, liked it, went inside and sat down, and it took forever in that dealership just to get us a freaking number on the thing. Well, obviously we know we're going to have to wait, and they say that. And how many times did that dude say supply and demand while we were in that dealership?
I just kind of tuned out after a while, but what was crazy is we asked for the price, and he goes off probably 15 minutes. I think around 15 minutes he comes back and he hands us a piece of paper that's got some different specs and stuff on it. And you said, no, I want the out the door price. And then he had to leave. So apparently there's an entirely different process. And I mean, I'm sure everybody else knows this, but for us, we don't do this. So it was just kind of weird going in there and really experiencing it from straight the customer side and just seeing what they had to say, because we weren't there. Like we literally stopped by because something else we were going to do got canceled. So we were just like, hey, we're close by, let's just go look at them. We didn't plan on going in or anything. So it took forever to get that price, and then you have to meet the manager, and then you can't leave until you meet the manager again because he wants to tell you buy. It's just a lot.
A different manager wanted to come and tell us buy before we left.
We literally had to wait. Well, I mean, had to. I'm sure we could have walked out.
But every good buy, we got like at least like $300 or $400 more knocked off of the price.
Yeah.
For every good buy. So we should have just stood at the desk and just started waving to each other for like 15 minutes. And we might have got it down like $5,000.
All right. One more thing I need to say.
Okay.
I have never heard of it being a stereotype that women need cup holders. So I would like to hear some commentary there. In addition to that, he's not being entirely serious. I do need to have a cup holder close by. He had a car that he loved, and it was the dumbest car ever. It literally had
it was a fantastic
one cup
car.
holder. It had one cup holder, and it was underneath the overhang from the armrest, so you couldn't put anything in it.
No. That wasn't the best one. The best one was that little. I had a 2-door BMW. I can't remember even what series it was. A little fast car. It was awesome, handled great, little sports car, fantastic. But the only cup holder was you had to literally push on the dash, and it just kind of this tiny cup holder just kind of hung down from the actual dash.
I can't.
And there was one on the driver's side, and there might not even been one on the that's how much BMW did not want you to drink anything in that car. So anyway, no, that's a thing. Anyway, so I've got this the printout sheet to show. It was 2024 Sienna. It was an XLE and base price MSRP. And this is before all the not the add-ons, but the equipment from Toyota is $42,995. Factory installed packages and accessories. That's going to be like your I think they have like an upgraded spare tire. They have the all-weather floor mats, 6 gallons of gas. They have that listed. That's not going to I saw that here. That's funny. So you get to pay a little extra for 6 gallons of gas. It's weird that they would specify it's exactly 6 gallons of gas.
I just think they want to show you what you're getting, so they're going to itemize it like crazy.
Anyway, that's funny. I hadn't seen that. The distributor install packages and accessories, that was $1,200. Factory install packages, I don't know if I said that already, $375. Delivery, processing and handling, that's just going to be the delivery fee. That's going to be standard on all of your cars. And that's $1,395. So your total suggested retail price, that's what is going to come really from the factory is $45,972. And that's all well and good. And then you have add-ons from this particular dealership. They actually got me the printout for everything that they're going to be adding. They are doing a discount of $1,500. But then they have nitrogen and pinstriping. As soon as they handed me the sheet and said nitrogen on it, $199, I was like, bro, I'm not paying that. And he said, oh, no problem. And he instantly like crossed it out. He crossed out the pinstriping too. That was $299. So that's $500 that they were able to knock off. They have a dealer admin charge, which is going to be your doc fee. That was $749. Taxes, $1,300. NC transfer title. We're in North Carolina, so all your entire stuff. But our out the door price finally, after how long did it take us to get an outdoor price? Like 30 plus minutes.
It felt like it was 2 hours. I know it wasn't, but it was a long time.
It was. And the thing about it is, when we were talking to them, we were not even saying that we were like serious about buying. We just want to come in there and say, look, this is the first dealership we've come to, and we're wanting to buy one of these vans. We know we're probably going to be buying something in the near future. But we just want to get numbers. Just can we get some numbers? Can we get some numbers? Yeah, that's great. Can we have some numbers? Oh yeah. All that's good. Nitrogen, yeah, we don't want to pay that. Can we get some numbers? It felt, I don't know how many times I asked, but it took so long. But eventually we got an out the door price of $47,208. And as far as how far that is from the MSRP, which it's A little over $1,000, $1,300, and then we are able to get another $500 knocked off because we weren't paying the whatever, and then we were able to get another like $300, $400, $500 knocked off because we said an extra goodbye. So that would bring us probably to around somewhere like $46,000, and that's right at the suggested retail price. So that's a Sienna. That's a very hard to find vehicle. What the big reason why I wanted to talk about all of this is because that's right at MSRP, really. Well, your suggested retail price after your distributor stuff, and that's a Sienna. It's one of the hardest vehicles to find right now. And no, we couldn't buy one right there. We would have to wait and order one. But gone are the days, I think, now that you're going to have to pay any add-ons, even on the most rare of vehicles, which this Toyota Sienna. And now my wife has been checking the last few days, and you haven't found any on the ground, right?
Zero.
Zero. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's what you can do right now. If you're willing to wait, you can find some of the MSRP. Let me make this clear though. MSRP, suggested retail price, whatever thing that they want to call it now. It's not a good deal. And when we're going in to buy something like this, if we decide that we're going to buy one of the Siennas, we're not anticipating we're going to get a good deal. It's just not going to happen. If we can get a little bit under MSRP, which with this dealership, I think we probably could, we're still not going to consider that a good deal. But in this market right now, that's probably the best you're going to get. So when you're going and looking at these vehicles, especially the more sought after vehicles, you look at the Siennas, you can look at like the RAV4 Primes or the Grand Highlanders, stuff like that. That's very tough to find. Just make sure you have your expectations set the correct way when you're going and looking and trying to price these vehicles, because these dealerships they don't have to move on things like this. This Sienna that we looked at that they were going to be getting in about a month or so, they didn't necessarily care all that much. They want to make a sale. They want to sell us a vehicle, right? But they don't necessarily care if we're the ones that buy it, because a couple of days from now, somebody is that van probably is already spoken for, even though we went and looked at it. Looked at the build out 2 days ago. So just temper your expectations, but know that the market is moving, and it's moving in the right direction, especially on this hard to find stuff. Because I mean, a year ago, something like that, a Sienna, where the supply and demand was a big problem, and you just couldn't get one, even if you're trying to order one because the wait list was so long. Yeah, they could add that $5,000, that $10,000 market adjustment, and they would still sell the vehicles. But now it's getting to a point where, okay, enough of the word is out, where inventory is building. You can get these vehicles. You don't have to pay those market adjustments. But even so, the nightmare behind going to this Toyota dealership was just the amount of hassle and the amount of goodbyes that we had to say to the salesperson, and then a manager, and then another manager. So they have different layers of what you call like closers on the sales staff. You have your general sales person, and then we had the nice guy come in. He sat down. He was all relaxed back. He was nice. He was really nice. What kind of read did you get on him, baby?
I thought they were all really nice.
Yeah.
And the first guy was kind of new. He comes in, like the guy that knows everything. He's the guy that's making sure we have all the information we need. And he's telling us how some of the other dealerships operate and what we'll see somewhere else. So,
and supply and demand. Supply and demand.
And supply and demand. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, and then the last goodbye we had to go through. That was the more harsh closer. He was short. He was like, "Well, we want to get your business. What if? I mean, can we knock off another $200? If $200 with that, like obviously that's not going to work. But he's got to say something. He's trying to get our business, and I can say since we've started looking at cars, both what I'm looking for and then these new Siennas. Just giving my phone number out to all these dealers. I'm getting like 5-6 calls a day. I'm getting emails every day, and I'm already tired of it. And we have just started looking. Another thing too, just if you're looking at vehicles, be fine walking away, because if it's not exactly what you want, exactly the price you want, you can find it somewhere else. It's going to happen. But I wanted to bring up too. They brought us a breakdown. We were planning on paying cash for this. We're not going to finance anything, but they brought us the estimation for the loan payments and everything. And I saw that it was interesting. The interest rates that they estimated even with good credit. It was 9.57% is the estimated interest rate that we would pay for this new vehicle, and that's with they broke it down to $2,500 down, $5,000 down, and $10,000 down. And even with those down payments, if you go to what used to be like a traditional monthly loan term, would be like 36 months. People aren't borrowing money on vehicles for 36 months anymore. But the lowest they even have the category that's the least amount of term is 48 months. And at that, you're still paying over $1,000 a month for the Sienna van. But it's just crazy. But they also have 72-month term. And with $2,500 down, which most people, that's the route that they're going to take. They will put the least amount of money down on the vehicle before they get into it. They're still paying $822 a month for 72 months on this van. That's almost I mean, after you pay your insurance, after you're paying taxes, registration every year, you're going to end up paying on that vehicle $1,000 a month over 72 months. That's just absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, so we're going to keep looking for this Sienna. I didn't mind the dealership. The dealership was fine. As far as the pricing goes, I thought it was fine. It's the hassle of what we have to deal with the salespeople. I don't want to deal with that. But the better story is what I've been looking for, and I've been looking for a car now for maybe about a week and a half, 2 weeks. And it's one, I'm not going to tell you what it is because we want to make videos about it later on. But I've gone to a used car dealership and tried to look at this car. It wasn't there. It wasn't even out where I could see it. But I called them like 3 or 4 days ago because I like the price on it. It was $34,000 online. So I thought that was a halfway decent price. I called them on it and was able to talk to one of the managers, say, look, I'm a used car dealer. You can wholesale me this thing. Is that something that you would be open to doing? And he was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll absolutely do that. And that way it's easier paperwork. You don't have to pay taxes on it, stuff like that. So I can just put it right into my dealership. So me and that manager talked, and I said, well, yeah, see what kind of numbers you can work up for me, and made it sound like he could give me some kind of deal or whatever. And they were able to get some numbers together. They sent me the worksheet on it, and the total ended up being right at, I think, $37,000 after it was said and done. But they wanted to charge me all kinds of, it wasn't just a doc fee, but it was like prep fees. It was, I have to go back through it and look at, but it was just it was a fees that added up to almost like $3,000 extra that I was going to have to pay. And one thing that was interesting to me, even though he said that he was going to be able to wholesale this and the paperwork was an issue, is they still wanted to charge me like titling fee. And I'm in North Carolina, and this dealer is also in North Carolina, but they were literally going to be filling out one paper to transfer it to my dealership. And the titling fee goes along with registration for North Carolina when we do our titling fees to get it to where we can sell it to an individual. Obviously, they're not selling to an individual. They would be selling to a dealer. But even with that, they were going to make it to where I have to pay that fee. It's not a big fee. It's like $50, whatever. But it's just interesting that this even the manager would tell me that he could get it for me and take a lot of these fees off. And at the end of the day, when I was ready to come and actually buy it and say, okay, give me this final out the door price and everything, all the fees just got left on. And then I called back and said, maybe we had a misunderstanding or whatever, but I thought you were going to be able to take some of this stuff off since you're wholesaling it to me, and you're going to give me this price that we saw online that I thought, and it sounded very much like we were going to get very close to. And he was just like, no, this is the outdoor price. This is what you got to pay. I said, okay. So I talked to the sales associate again after I had that conversation with the manager and said, look, I want to potentially buy this car, but I want to pay for this price that I thought was what we agreed upon and what you're going to be able to get it to me. And maybe there was a manager above them that stepped in and kind of corrected all that stuff. But anyway, it felt very shady. And these are the things that you're going to have to deal with as a consumer. I'm a dealer and I'm having to deal with this stuff. And it's not fun. So if we're going to be, we're definitely going to be buying cars in the near future. I see what I'm going to have to deal with now. And I don't envy a lot of you individuals that have to do this on a regular basis. For us, usually I can go find what we want at an auction and I don't have to deal with dealers. But for the two things that we're probably going to be buying in the near future, I am going to have to probably deal with some dealerships, and it's not something that I'm happy about. What else do you have to add to this, baby?
Nothing. I think we should get to some questions.
Yeah, let's answer a couple questions here from the chat.
Put some in there. We've got a few, but if you've got some questions, put them in.
Yep. Question: when is the depreciation for Infinity's going to stop being so bad? What is their chance for recovery? So, when you're talking about depreciation, if it's over the last couple years, well, you know that consumers have paid a lot more for vehicles than they should have. A lot of these banks were loaning 140% over the values of the cars. Dealerships were adding market adjustments that they probably shouldn't have been to help the longevity of their dealership, of their business, but just because of word of mouth and people not wanting to shop there anymore. But they did it anyway, right? And now it's starting to bite consumers in the butt, because what we've seen is that the wholesale values have gone down. And all these market adjustments have come off of these vehicles. Now, a lot of them, like we saw that on that Sienna I was talking about, they're selling for MSRP, and you can get them for MSRP. And there are still people out there that owe over MSRP. So that creates a lot of these 1 to 2 to 3 year old cars that are coming into the market that people need to dump. They need to get rid of. And it's pushing prices of especially those down, because we're seeing the new car dealers. Look at like the big three, Stellantis, the new vehicles that are on these dealer lots, and Infinity is probably one of them too, because I know Nissan is also having a big problem. Is they're adding incentives. They're pushing the prices of these new vehicles down. And what that does is that pushes the values of the used market in those particular models down too. So I don't think the depreciation for Infinities is going to stop anytime soon, especially on more of the luxury products. You had people that had tons of money and they were ready to spend it. And now we're not seeing that to be the case. So usually when you have a downtrending market, what gets hit the worst is your luxury products, your products that people will spend extra money on just because they're brand. I think Infinity falls into that. And then you'll have your lower end of the market that falls a little bit harder, because the people that are more willing to buy that lower end of the spectrum, they're the ones that get hurt the worst in a downtrending economy. So let's pull up Ron's question. I tried to buy a new Pathfinder with my son, walked as the dealer added $5,000 worth of value added packages. Value added packages. I get that. Yeah, that's the same thing I ended up doing with this used vehicle that I was trying to buy for myself. So yeah, I would tell you, Ron, continue to walk if you're seeing $5,000 worth of add-ons, because especially if you're buying a Nissan, I know that you can get Nissans under MSRP, and on a Pathfinder, there is a chance you can find a Nissan dealer that's struggling out there, and you might be able to get close to invoice on that Pathfinder. I know that the Nissan dealership that's near me that we're friends with talked to the franchise manager, and they're having a hard time moving vehicles, and Nissan is not slowing down pumping vehicles to them. There is you can go in there to a Nissan dealership and use the same thing that Toyota salesman used on me. Supply, demand, right? Well, Nissan, you have way too much supply and not very much demand. So if you want to sell a truck to me, if you want to sell a Pathfinder to me, then I need it to not have these add-ons. So continue to walk around and try to find a different Nissan dealership. I've got one near me that I could probably hook you up on. So give me a call. You're one of the few viewers that actually has my cell phone number. So thoughts on the RAV4? RAV4 is great. Buy a RAV4. Yes, I love RAV4s. I would try to buy one that's a couple years used. RAV4s are getting to the place where the used value should be dropping down, because we're seeing a lot of new RAV4s at dealerships. There's a RAV4 Prime that's different, but if it's just your generic four-wheel drive RAV4, or even better, a two-wheel drive RAV4, then you're going to see them much cheaper on the used car market, because dealerships are they're getting more of them. We have a Toyota dealership, the same Toyota dealership actually I just went to with my wife for the Sienna. Like 6 months ago, they had maybe 1, 2 RAV4s. And then just 2 months ago, I did a video going to their dealership, and we counted 18 RAV4s on the ground at their dealership, not spoken for, anything like that. So RAV4s are growing in availability. So that means the used car prices on them should go down. But yeah, I do like RAV4s. They're smaller SUVs, but they're great. I love just about anything Toyota. But with that, I think we're going to end it. Thank you for watching this. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like this video, and thank you.